Look at this. China plans to release report on human rights violation in the U.S. What? Oh, that's rich. That's rich. Check us out. China is set to release a report on alleged human rights violations in the United States in an apparent move to deflect the international criticism of its Uyghur concentration camps in Xinjiang province. On Monday, Chinese State Council Information Office said that it plans to release a report titled "The Report on Human Rights Violations in the United States in 2020." According to the office, the document will be around 15,000 Chinese characters and detail facts of, like, facts is in quotes, regarding Washington's failures to contain the coronavirus pandemic. This is rich. All right, there's a few things that I have to say here, but I'm gonna finish reading it, and then I'm gonna respond here. The document describes Washington's pandemic response as an incompetent pandemic containment leading to tragic outcomes, American democracy disorder triggering political chaos, ethnic minorities suffering racial discrimination, continuous social unrest threatening public security, growing polarization between the rich and the poor, aggravating social inequality, the U.S. trampling on international rules resulting in humanitarian disasters, according to the Chinese state propaganda outlet CGTN. The Chinese outlet stated that the United States reached the grim milestone of 500,000 coronavirus deaths in February. The report attributed the great loss of the Americans to its government's mishandling of COVID-19. The CGTN goes on to cite President Joe Biden, who said there's more lives lost to this virus than any other nation on earth, in reference to the number of deaths in the United States. God, okay, I have to respond to this. This whole... I'm gonna finish reading this, but the death numbers were pumped. Cuomo is facing allegations. Whitmer is now facing allegations. They sent sick people into these nursing homes and killed more people than were necessary. Some of the numbers project up to 40% of all the COVID deaths were from these 5 different governors: Newsom, Murphy, Wolf, Whitmer, and Cuomo. All right, sending sick patients into nursing homes and getting old people killed. It's ridiculous. And so the numbers aren't 500,000. Look at the flu deaths. They're practically nothing. COVID-19 solved the flu. The flu is no longer an issue. We had people getting hit by buses, COVID death. Motorcycle accidents, COVID deaths. False positives. People that they thought had COVID, but actually it was just heart disease, which is one of the #1 causes of death in America. Okay? So the death numbers by themselves are a lie. It's fake. Okay? I'm sick of this. They keep spouting it like, oh, the insurrection. He said there's good people on either side. It's like all these just lies, and they just run with it. I'm so sick of it. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to this. The document will go into detail about the disorder in American democratic institutions that has led to political chaos and further tore the fabric of society apart. The document claims that hate crimes against ethnic minority groups in the United States are the result of systemic racial discrimination, apparently using the American left's words to condemn the United States. How dare you, China? Are you kidding me? You're going to say that we have a systemic racial problem? Sorry, no, that's the media pushing that down everyone's throats. If you look at any of the statistics about what is actually going on with systemic racism here in the country, it's all lies. It's all BS. And it's all being used to manipulate people's emotions. The people that are whipping up in a frenzy screech the loudest, okay, and succumb to this manipulation. China themselves spent over $6 million in our media over the 6 months prior to the election. It's partly your fault, China. That is ridiculous. All right, that they have, and then what they're doing with the Uyghur population, man, they're basically exterminating them. They have concentration camps right now, and they're going to call us out. They're going to say we've got an issue. with systemic discrimination when you guys are putting people in camps? It's ridiculous. My goodness. And it continues here. The document claims that black people are discriminated against in Washington's handling of the pandemic. Wait, the handling of the pandemic discriminated against black people? Oh, please tell me how that makes sense. Arguing that black people have been disproportionately afflicted by pandemics throughout history. What does that have to do with this pandemic? I don't, please, I hope they get to it. Playing its woke card, China claims that people of color were also unjustly treated by American police, and even cites statistics showing that black people are 3 times more likely to be killed by police. It also goes into detail about George Floyd and the protests that ignited in the wake of its death, citing leftist advocacy group Mapping Police Violence. Wow. So they're using leftist talking points almost as if the left and China are working together. Who would have ever guessed that? Who's been saying that for like 8 months since he became politically aware? Maybe a year now. Man, has it been a year? It's March. I was doing the show for over a month, and I started doing my research about a year ago. Yeah, that was me. That was me. I was talking about them working with China, and China working with these far leftists, because that's what they're trying to do. Undermine our society. Say that we have a problem in our society. The Constitution is an issue. We need to really reevaluate the Constitution. It's like, no. It's you all that and what you're doing that we need to reevaluate. China also appears to be using democratic talking points by blaming gun violence on the proliferation of firearms in the United States, stating that gun trade and shooting incidents also reached a historical high throughout the year. Wait a minute. Now China is trying to get us to give up our guns? Why would they want that? Why do you think that's a thing? Why do you think China wants us to not have so many guns? Maybe because it's a huge problem for them to think that they can take us over. Yeah, because we are armed. I'm armed. Come at me, China. That's what they want. It says the report added that the people are losing confidence in the social order. No, they're losing confidence in the media and in the people that are very clearly working with you, China. That's what we have lack of confidence in, is the people that have been sitting in office for 40 years, almost 50 years, some of them 50 years, doing nothing but stuffing your money in their pockets. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing right now. The average citizen going, what is going on with this? When is enough? Enough! My goodness. This is craziness. Finally, the report draws attention to the rising poverty and inequality in the United States, claiming that the vulnerable groups are the biggest victims in the U.S. government's mishandling of the pandemic. The reports also criticize the unilateralism, isolationism, and American First policies boasted by the U.S. and its untimely actions, such as imposing sanctions wantonly, bullying and threatening international organizations, and treating asylum seekers cruelly. Oh my gosh! You mean like sanctioning you, China, and putting, tariffs on you because you have no environmental care? You don't care. You have slave labor right now. You're actually doing human rights violations on your citizens right now for American companies. American companies are using you. Nike, I see you, Nike. Yeah, that's right. Calling you out. NBA, covering up for the China, the big old Chinese money filling your pockets. Yeah, dude, I'm sick of this Chinese stuff, man. Here's a great little article, right? 10 astounding facts about human rights violations in China. Oh, that says China, right? Not America? Yeah, that's right. That's China. Okay, let's read about this. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see a little better there. Okay. 10 facts. Number 1, authorities control citizens' internet use by blocking social media sites and restricting news publications. Any news reporting that slanders the country's political system is typically shut down. The government also adopted Blue Shield filtering software to documents websites visited by users. A cybersecurity law was implemented in June 2017, requiring all internet companies working in China to regulate content for Chinese citizens. Well, you don't have freedom there. Freedom of the internet, freedom of speech. No. You're not allowed to slander the country's political system. How dare you? Shutting it down. The government only allows 5 officially recognized religions in approved religious sites. No freedom of religion there? Let's keep talking about America, huh? Yeah, sure. In February 2018, a revised regulations on religious affairs was established. The revision invested all control over religious activities to the government, including finances, personnel appointments, and publications. The law also states a goal of restraining infiltration and extremism, which could enforce a limitation on religious freedom for Tibetan Buddhists and Uyghur Muslims. You don't say. You're not even allowed to do what you want. Worship who you feel is who you want, to worship. No? Let's see here. Although labor laws allow trade union organization and elections of trade union committees, the government still controls these rights. Workers cannot vote for trade unions, while the right to strike usually goes unacknowledged. According to various human rights groups, China violates workers' freedom of association. This is due to China's prohibition of independent union organizing and trade union law. This law requires the All China Federation of Trade Unions to maintain communist leadership. In 2017, China ranked 100 among 144 countries of gender parity for the 9th year in a row. According to the party Congress, there is a substantial absence of women in chief political positions. Females in China are more likely to experience domestic violence, sexual assault, and harassment, and workplace discrimination, which can increase their chances of becoming impoverished. However, it is difficult for women to overcome such barriers since the government does not favor women's rights activism. And then, of course, we got Uyghurs, Tibet, and Tibetan populated areas endure higher poverty rates, displacement, discrimination, and cruel human rights issues. According to the UN Special Rapporteur, the situations of Tibetans and Uyghurs is deeply problematic. Similar to most Chinese citizens, ethnic minorities do not have the right to freedom of religion, expression, and peaceful assembly. Over 150 Tibetans have and continue to protest repressive laws by self-immolation, which is setting yourself on fire, which is terrible. Authorities continue to conduct politically motivated prosecutions. After a national crackdown in July 2015, over 250 human rights protesters were detained, 9 of which were convicted of subverting state power. Some detainees admit to being tortured or forced to confess. Though many have since been released, they continue to be isolated and monitored. Lawyers of protesters are often harassed and intimidated by authorities. Number 7, about 500,000 individuals are currently detained without trial, charge, or access to legal aid. The government uses re-education camps through labor to arrest individuals without a trial. Usual targets of RTL include petitioners, protesters, and those practicing an unrecognized religion. Black jails and mental health institutions are types of illegal detentions that are utilized by authorities. China is currently the leading executioner in the world. For decades, China imposed the death penalty for nonviolent crimes and unfair trials. In March 2017, the president of the Supreme People's Court said that capital punishment was only applied to an extremely small number of criminals for extremely severe offenses. However, China's statistics on death penalties remain classified, and authorities fail to release numerical data. China is accepting help from the UN in addressing human rights issues. In 2016, the government formed the policy paper New Progress in Judicial Protection of Human Rights in China. The policy paper addresses the human rights issues and suggests potential developments. After inviting the UN to support the initiative, the UN agreed and made visits to China. The human rights in China works to promote human rights and hold the government accountable. The HRIC is an NGO that uses advocacy and policy engagement to give citizens voices and improve human rights protection. Its advocacy programs aid individual casework and long-term reforms. By advocating both domestically and globally, HRIC promotes international NGOs, the business community, multiple stakeholders, groups, and results-oriented government engagement. All right, look, I have a headache from China, the hypocrisy of China trying to shove it down, like point the finger at us, say that it's our fault, that we're the ones with the issue. Like that's rich, man. That's insane. They really think that we're the problem, that we have issues. And it's like, really, I think the bell curve of humans in probably China too can't stand the CCP. All right. And for that comparison, most people in the middle, the bell curve of Americans, probably can't stand the government because the government does whatever they want. Look at the hypocrisy of the governors. Gavin Newsom, he's saying, well, I mean, it's despicable. What did he say? It's absolutely reckless that these people would lift the mask mandates when he himself was seen without a mask, out and about. Like, dude, you can't even follow your own rules. What is this? It's ridiculous. That's what it is.